Hey everyone, and welcome to Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. I am Frank.
And I'm Peter.
All right, today we're gonna talk about the top 3 roles for Jack Nicholson. Guy's a classic. Jack Nicholson. Hey, before we do that though, you tried but you failed. I win. So I want you to think about. We'll talk about a little bit later about actors who you don't have to do plural. You can just give me one. Stand-up comedians. Who have successfully made the jump to like acting.
Oh, okay.
Stand-up comedians.
Stand-up comedians.
Yeah, so not just like comic actors who have done drama.
I got you.
Stand-up comedians who have made the transition into like doing acting stuff. So, and there's a bunch of them. So
think about Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. So talk about him for a moment or two, if you would.
Jack Nicholson.
You have my undivided attention.
Okay, let me just first say when we picked his name out of the popcorn bucket, it was that same feeling that I had when we had Meryl Streep. When her name came out of the bucket, exact same feeling. Like,
why hasn't he won a daytime?
I said, it had to happen. It was like, this is a powerhouse with so many credits, unbelievable, and so many just so important to the history of cinema. It's unbelievable. So to narrow it down to 3,
tough job.
Tough
job. That's why we get paid the big bucks.
You said it.
We don't even get paid little bucks.
No, we don't.
A T-shirt, support the show.
Ooh, good idea. We could probably just pick any 3 and just go, these are my favorite. But because they would all stand out, stand alone, great stuff.
I don't know, Going South.
Oh no, that was not terrible. But no, there are some where, because there is a time period as he's certainly not a young man. There were, there was that little bit of a time period in there in the late 80s, maybe through the 90s. Sometimes it seemed like he may have been phoning it in, just doing the Jack Nicholson shtick kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
The Jack Nicholson.
It's not
Jack
bad.
Nicholson-ness of it all.
But there are some though where he's got the right director and the right script.
Yeah,
thing of beauty, incredible.
So what do you?
I've narrowed it down to this, and let me tell you, I can pick a billion of them. It seems like. So my first one is 5 Easy Pieces.
Okay.
He's Bobby Dupuis, and he's.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, Bobby Dupuis. So there's on the surface we see him, and he's like working in the oil fields. That's what he's doing. It looks like it's hard work, like just a regular working man. Not doing great, but that's what his job is. He's in a situation where his girlfriend has moved in. She's, we'll just say a wonderful person, kind heart, but not very bright. And this is where you start to see a little bit of this Jack Nicholson character of Bobby Dupuis, where there's something else there. He's not just a regular working schlub, although he loves to just go bowling and drinking and working his regular 9 to 5 sort of thing. But there's something else.
The afterworld.
He could
never.
He could have he could be doing something else. We don't know this, but his character unfolds before us. He could be doing something else. He could have a better relationship with his family. Like, these are all choices that he's made, which, we start to find out. So it seems like his family has money, but he's distanced himself from this family. He could be, if he chose to, he could be a concert pianist, classical music. Once again, he's just stopped that whole part of his life. And there are some times, because he's well educated, he's an intelligent man, and there are times where you start to see this, because he kind of looks down upon his girlfriend. She's not polished. She's just regular.
He's a little condescending.
A little bit there going on. And
condescending means you talk down to people.
Wow, what a pretentious. Anyway, so there's this going on, and he's just this multi-layered thing, and then something happens. His father, I forget if it's a stroke or something, but his father's not doing well, and he cannot ignore the pleas of his sister to go back home just to see their father. And so that puts him into this other world again where he's no longer a part of. He's either not comfortable or he never liked it or whatever. But so at first he's even leaving the girlfriend home in a hotel room as they drive all the way up to Washington. And it's a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
It's just a great performance by him. It's got this ending, which has always been one of my favorite movie endings. It is not a Hollywood ending. It's just not what you expect, but it's in keeping with his character, and it's just it's a great performance. 5 easy pieces. Wonderful.
All right. What's next?
Next, I'm going to go with. Even at this point in his career, he had hits. He had Academy Award nominations, but this is still the movie that really just put him over the top, where everybody wanted Jack Nicholson, and that's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What a great movie! Great
movie,
performance.
great
The
cast.
supporting cast. Nurse Ratched, what a figure we have there in cinematic history. But his Randall P. McMurphy, R.P. McMurphy, he's up to the challenge. He's going to say, "You're going to make life hell for us. I think I can do you one better." And it's just incredible. Once again, if you haven't seen that movie, go see it.
Yeah.
It's on the surface, it's going to sound like, well, what kind of a movie could this be if we're in a mental institution? It's not pretty, but you see humanity, and you just see McMurphy, trying to get his way, trying to make sense of this. He's just he's faking it anyway.
Because at the time
he's
they're
trying to get out of prison and. We're
doing this for your benefit. It's just like, wait a minute here. It's just like, we know better. You just listen.
You're here for a reason.
So
and we've got a job.
But it takes away people's, their own agency, their own self-determination, in the name of we know better. We're taking care of you. It's just like, stop helping me.
It's funny how. There's a point in the movie where he's just shocked. He's literally and physically in this movie, but he's just taken out of his element for a split second because he just assumes everybody else is in the same situation that he is, where it's not his choice. And then suddenly he finds out that there are a couple people who are there voluntarily, and he's like, what? You can go home anytime?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, I can go home if I want. I can sign myself out. And it's just like, oh my God, because it's prison for a couple of these people. And it's even the ones who are there voluntarily, it still seems like a little bit of hell for them. But they just choose to be there for whatever reason. Great performance. Wonderful. And it's, the supporting cast is wonderful too. It's just these iconic, figures and scenes, things you remember. And, it's wonderful. And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This one hit Kirk Douglas so hard that when he read the book, he wanted to see this put on Broadway, and it got on Broadway, and he bought the rights.
Yeah.
He said, no, this is something so important, so poignant. Bought the rights, so he owned it, and he wanted to play McMurphy for a dozen years or so, and as time went on, he realized, just a little too old. I can't do this justice. I believe he did play it on Broadway, but when it came to there's a possibility to get this made into a film, he felt, no, it's not fair, it's not right, I'm too old. But he gave his son, Michael Douglas, an incredible gift. He gifted it to him. He said, here it is, here's the paper, you own it now. Yeah. And you do it. So Michael Douglas's first Academy Award is as the producer for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Great movie. Can't say enough about it. And it is, it's just Jack Nicholson doing his best.
I agree.
Wonderful. Yeah. Just incredible. And I can watch that, once a year. Just saw it, 2 weeks ago maybe. It just stands up. It still hits you the same way every time you see it. Ages very well because of this controlled situation. So it's wonderful. So that would be there'd be a second one and a third one, and let me tell you, the third one's hard to do because you say to yourself, God, there's so many others.
Yeah, there's so many.
And like I say, we could go on forever just picking ones that didn't make the list. Third one is Chinatown. That's another one. I could watch that one all the time.
Yeah.
And there's the same thing. That's become iconic with lines from there and another great supporting cast.
I think all through, especially all year three, there's this through line of characters who just have this cynicism, and he sort of brings that out really, really well. And sometimes it's a lot more blatant than in others. I think it's a little more subtle in like Chinatown.
It is, yeah.
So, but it's something like Cuckoo's Nest. It's just like, oh, I'm a rebel, and I'm just going to
he's just wearing it on his
in my
sleeve.
rebellion.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then 5 Easy Pieces, he's just like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of from that world, and I know that world is such bullshit. Yeah. So, and, I'm going to be reluctant to get back into it.
Yeah.
But, Chinatown is just a great story.
Like, he's a jaded former cop seeing a lot of crap that goes down on both sides of the law, and he just doesn't want to do that, but he can't get out completely because he doesn't know much else. So he's, through the course of this movie, he's a private detective, and he's in L.A. representing a great time period.
Yeah.
For that film.
Yeah, because LA's right on the cusp of a big change.
And it's a throwback to noir movies, but it's
I wouldn't even say it's a. Would you say it's a
Well,
throwback
I don't think
or
we
just
had
part
any.
of?
Oh no, it's part of it. But when it came out, there hadn't really been.
Yeah, I
too
guess so.
much,
That because
a little
yeah,
bit.
those.
But
kind of
it's done in beautiful color. Um, it's just a great thing. It's a little more visceral, and there's a couple of points of this movie where you go, oh, is that really what happened?
Right, because
that's a tough situation
because there's like
to represent on TV.
Right.
I mean, to represent in film, but it's tough for the audience.
Right, that's the thing.
Go,
there's the main story, water, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And that's enough because to sort of get that reveal, it's just like, oh, this is what's going on, and that connects A, B, C, and D. But then it's just like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Be ready to cringe.
You got it.
And you're just like, oh, now I feel super good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like there are people in this movie who don't necessarily do the right thing, or they're purposely doing bad things. And it's funny because once again, this is another one I can watch every year. It never gets old for me, and once again saw it whatever a week or so ago. And the one person who is the innocent, or the only innocent one, completely innocent. I mean, well, there is a second person, but that person doesn't get developed. The one who's completely innocent is the one that gets murdered. And that's what sets off the whole investigation and stuff. And that was the only one who really tried to help people and care for people and stuff. So that, but just wonderful. I love, and he's beaten down. He's had experiences, and then there's a couple scenes where he's physically, beaten down, roughed up, has his nose sliced. The whole,
Yeah.
And it's a great period piece. It really is. It's like a love story in a way to this, to pre-World War II L.A. It's just wonderful, and it talked about some issues about the whole water supply, which doesn't seem to make much sense unless you lived out in a desert situation, and that's what it is. It really, I mean, they bring the water to them. That's what it is.
Yeah,
and so it's just wonderful. Love it. He's he wants to do the right thing. He wants to, he's trying to earn his money because he's being hired. But then he's getting in a little deeper, and he's finding out more stuff like, oh, this is dirty.
Yeah.
This is not right. And then it's like, oh, God. So he's already he's already cynical and that jaded. But it exceeds his worst everything gets a little worse. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
It is good stuff. All right,
That's
stuff.
Good. So those are my three, and let me tell you, I got 1,000 more.
Oh yeah. I mean, we just got a huge body of work. I think this is going to be one of those instances where we don't overlap.
Okay.
So my first one is going to be As Good as It Gets.
Yep.
Yeah, great
Certainly.
performance in there. And again, it's sort of it's so interesting because he's sort of doing his Jack Nicholson thing.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's a Jack Nicholson thing where, and he's such an asshole in this movie, but it's sort of Jack Nicholson being tapped on the shoulder going, all right, dude, stop being Jack Nicholson. You're being kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
And him going, oh, okay. And so to see this character who has gotten through, fine, all his weird little quirks, and he's successful, so, he gets a little bit of, leeway. And then, Helen Hunt's just calling him out. It's just like, look, dude, I don't have time for your crap. You're being a jerk. I'm going to tell you you're being a jerk. And he doesn't like that. Whatever it is, he's just, you know what? This is one person that, there's a chemistry there, and her revulsion, and that may be a little strong.
Yeah,
but her disappointment or hatred or disapproval of him, it matters to him.
Yes.
And it really does come down to, and there's that iconic line where, she makes him want to be a better man.
Yeah.
And I think that this movie does that with Jack Nicholson because it makes him, I think, a better actor in a lot of ways, because he doesn't because he's not just like resting on his Jack Nicholson laurels. So it needs to be a little bit different. So, and that's a really good role. And, yay to Helen Hunt for, because she's such a, she's done movies and stuff, but she's such a TV actor type.
Yeah, but that one she's
and that one is just, because I remember when that came out, and it's just like, oh, Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
All right.
And
she may be out of her depth, but she kicked ass. She was fantastic.
And I loved Greg Kinnear
Greg
in that movie.
Yeah, he's really great in that.
And he impressed me too. Like, he's got a little more depth than I thought too, or more range.
Yeah, great movie and a good Jack Nicholson performance that sort of peels away the Jack.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Excellent performance.
Yeah, and then I gotta go Batman.
Yeah, sure.
His it's just like, Jack Nicholson as a costumed, bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh man, he just made. He's just as important. I mean, the villains are always more fun to play, of course, and the villains are always a lot more fun to watch.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things, and that movie, and then the one that Tim Burton did after that with Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right, the Penguin one.
Yeah. So but Jack Nicholson as the Joker is just like, yes, it's so perfect. You wonder why is Jack Nicholson doing a comic book movie? Because this is back before the MCU when it was just like, they're gonna try and do Batman with Batman. And this was before like they could do serious Batman. This was before Chris Nolan took on Batman. Yeah. This is when the only other Batman that you had on a screen was the campy Adam West stuff. And
the thing too about the comic book movies, whether it was Superman a little earlier and then this first Batman, was that there's no CGI, so a lot of this stuff is more character driven. It's not like, we got to have the biggest explosions and the best this and that one. Well, it doesn't really exist, so you have to work around.
Yeah.
So the script is nice, but the performance.
Yeah, Michael Keaton is a great Batman, and bringing Nicholson in as the Joker, I thought was a masterstroke.
I agree.
But before that Batman, the only real good superhero movie before that was almost like a decade before with Christopher Reeve and Superman.
Yeah.
You didn't really have anything.
Nothing really
through the 80s where they were just terrible. I know that there was a Spider-Man TV show for a little while.
There was the Hulk one,
70s.
which was actually pretty good.
Yeah, like the Hulk TV show was pretty good, but nothing movie-wise.
Yeah.
So
no.
But this was a serious take on Batman.
It was
fantastic, and Nicholson as the Joker was great. He was the quintessential Joker before Heath Ledger got it, and I would put those two up against each other any day of the week.
And he got to act. He couldn't just be Jack. He had to go even more.
Yeah.
So
he's got to like turn it up and find the Joker, because the Joker's such a tough, bizarre character. It really is. So that's my other one. That's that's one. And then I'd go The Departed.
Yeah.
He's great in that.
Phenomenal.
And again, not very Jack Nicholson-y.
No.
Not at all. He's quite good as, aging gangster Frank Costello. And what's really, we talked about these gangster movies that take place in Boston, and there are locations that we know. We grew up in that part of the country. So it's really interesting. You always hear stories about who knows who and what happened.
Yeah.
And you might remember things that happened because Frank Costello was sort of a play off of Whitey Bulger.
Yes.
It was always
Right.
It was just like, oh, Whitey Bulger, always a big thing. So I love him in that because he is. I mean, there are parts that are kind of like funny, but they're like kind of funny, like uneasy laughter. And there are times when he's just downright terrifying.
Oh yeah,
he's terrifying.
Yeah,
and it's just he relieves himself of the burden of being Jack Nicholson, and it's not a very Jack Nicholson-y kind of role at all.
No,
so that's and I love The Departed. I'll watch that one, maybe once a year or so, because it is. I mean, everyone is great. It seemed to take a long time to get Nicholson with Scorsese.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. Given that they all sort of came up together, and to have Nicholson with Scorsese, and then you start, you see DiCaprio start doing a lot of stuff with Scorsese too. It's just like, oh, I like this dynamic. This is a good group of people working together. This is pretty great.
You like wonder, does it go through somebody, even the mind of a very big, successful actor like Jack Nicholson? Do you think it ever goes through their mind where they're like, well, Martin Scorsese's got a movie coming up, but he's great friends with, and he always goes to the same source.
Oh, I'm sure.
So he'll go to Robert De Niro. He's going to go to Harvey Keitel. He's going to go to Joe Pesci. Yeah, there's probably nothing for me in the movie. So you like wonder if they even think like that, because it did take a long time for Jack Nicholson to be in a movie.
So it's really interesting to wonder, was it Scorsese took a long time to ask, or was it Nicholson taking a long time to say yes?
Right.
So you don't know.
Or is it also just the fact that a lot of Scorsese's organized crime movies, that genre might stereotype to a degree what even Martin Scorsese might be thinking. Oh, I need somebody who looks Italian. Right. They need to represent the Irish side.
Yeah.
So maybe he's thinking, I don't want to go with De Niro. I don't want to go. You know what I mean? Maybe. I don't know. Then I'm going to go with somebody else.
Those are the things that. Those are the
and he's the right age. It's got to be an older.
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
So those are my
great picks.
Yeah. So
he's just tremendous.
Yeah, he's
and he
amazing.
kills me to think that there's a dozen others that are on the cutting
room.
That we couldn't
About Schmidt.
About Schmidt is wonderful.
That movie is fantastic. One
of my favorites is The Last Detail. That's another from the 70s. That it just couldn't get in there.
The Shining. The
Shining is the other one, which actually I just saw that one too in preparation.
Yeah. That would have been a fourth for me. He's great.
I love that movie. He's incredible.
That's great, and that's
and it pains me to think that some of these couldn't make my list, but he's great in the more recent one too, The Irishman.
Oh, really good in that. Yeah. A Few Good Men. There's so many. You just rattle off Jack Nicholson movies. Yeah, it's so good. But so let me recap yours. Sure, were Five Easy Pieces, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and the prequel to The Two Jakes, Chinatown.
I don't think I've ever heard Chinatown described as the prequel to The Two Jakes.
All I can think of is Jake.
Jake,
Two Jakes, Chinatown.
But the other thing I love is...
I always wanted someone named Jake to come up to me while I'm watching Chinatown and ask me, hey, what are you watching? Because that would be, it's just like, yes, finally. It's like having a child ask me how to spell safety. Anyway.
It's Chinatown, Jake. the other thing that I love about that movie is John Huston acting in that one, where he's the bad, he's Noah Cross, whatever. But I love it how there's multiple times, and it's not done as a joke. It could be done accidentally, but you get the feeling that this Noah Cross character is doing it on purpose. But like he'll purposely mispronounce his name, Mr. Gitz,
Yeah.
Mr. Gitz. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's Gittes, and then you know what I mean. It's just like there's a point where it's just you know. I don't know. It's just one of those things.
It's a great little writing trick to let you know that this character has no respect for that character.
You got it. You got it. Great. And your three were As Good as It Gets.
Yeah.
What was the As Good as It Gets? When you had the Departed, and hang on. I can see you're hanging on pretty well. Tap dancing for time here. What was the other one you had? Completely different than mine.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. Any help? Hints? Clues?
You want me to help you? What are you joking? Come on.
Oh, Batman, the Joker. He's good.
Anywho, yeah. So I asked you a question about stand-up people who.
People who were stand-up comedians who have made a successful
I mean, there's a
transition.
ton. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I think.
There were some that transitioned over to acting, but weren't like the stars. They didn't have like a starring role like George Carlin. You could say, well, he went over. He started doing some movies, but the roles that he does aren't. It's
They're just
different.
like, hey, look, it's George Carlin.
George Carlin, yeah. Well, you got people like Woody Allen, but he was more on the writing end, but definitely stand up anyway. Richard Pryor would be another one, but I never really appreciated Richard Pryor's acting. Like in some of his movies, he's very good and funny, but there are some other ones that are just they're painful.
Put him with Gene Wilder, and he's good.
Yeah. So I would say Eddie Murphy did a great job. Still does.
Yeah.
I don't mean that he's done it, but I'm gonna say I think the most successful in terms of the acting part, switching over, probably Jamie Foxx.
Really? You think more successful than Robin Williams?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That's just me.
Well, you just don't like Robin Williams.
No, I'm not a big Robin Williams fan. I appreciate his humor. I do, but no, I think I like Jamie Foxx's acting better than Robin Williams' acting.
Really?
Yeah.
I am very shy. I mean, Jamie Foxx is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Did a bunch of stand up. So I mean, there's a lot who have made the transition.
Yeah.
So
And not necessarily to just to movies. I mean, you had Ray Romano.
Yeah.
So
TV.
Jerry Seinfeld. There's a lot more to TV.
Every once in a while, you'll see Sarah Silverman do a movie.
Yeah.
Not a comedy either. You'll see her in a movie, and you go,
oh, she's great. She showed up in
she's in Battle of the Sexes.
That's what it was. Yeah, she was great in that.
Yeah,
she was great in that. And her show, did you ever see her TV show?
Oh yeah, I love
TV show is hilarious.
Oh yeah,
yeah, really great. So yeah, she's great, and her stand-up is just. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, I think
it's so good. So yeah.
All
right.
Yes, there are other people out there, but there are other people who made a transition, but I don't know how well. Sometimes, like how were they able to sustain an acting career? Sometimes, I don't know who you got.
Well, I was Robin Williams definitely comes to mind. Jim Carrey comes to mind. Sarah Silverman. came to mind. So those are some of the big ones. And there's the obvious one.
Whoopi did some good acting.
Yeah.
Actually, have we seen Whoopi
Billy
in
Crystal.
anything recently?
No.
Acting, not
No.
doing a
Whoopi
show.
Goldberg? No, I don't think so. She's on TV.
Yeah,
She's
but
doing
I mean, I
reviews,
haven't seen her.
I haven't seen her in a thing.
I haven't seen her do a movie.
So, anyway.
Yeah,
All right,
Billy,
I was
Billy Crystal.
what you think? Yeah,
that
Billy
one.
Crystal. Real big. So, Jerry Seinfeld.
Yep.
So, Paul Reiser.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, and Paul Reiser's done some serious stuff. He's done some funny stuff.
He was very good.
So-
I love that relationship in Whiplash.
Yeah.
As the father. He's very good
really
in that
good.
movie.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
All right, let's do the bucket.
sure thing.
Jack Nicholson.
Sweet, we get to do him
So
over.
Weird. Kidding.
All righty. Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, great. Hey, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Because this is a podcast too. So if you're at the gym and you want to listen to this foolishness, do that. Check us out on Instagram and on Facebook, and remember to follow us on both of those. That would be cool. If you want to support the show, we would be very appreciative. We have T-shirts, we got mugs, we got sweatshirts, and phone cases, all that kind of thing. So that would be really, really cool. Helps us out a little bit. And I guess we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Bye bye.